Civilization 7 has been out for a little minute now, and I've been playing quite a bit, and it is massively different from the last game, Civilization 6. So this is going to be a video just full of tips and tricks that I wish I knew before I started playing, because there are some surprising differences. And of course, if you find this video helpful or just entertaining, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, that way you don't miss out on more videos just like this. Now, the first tip is going to be in relation to settlements. They have changed quite a bit in Civilization 7. Now, when we very first start the game, we get something called a founder, and he will make a city. It's a full-fledged city. It does its own thing. You can build and you can produce troops and all that jazz right from the beginning. That's going to be your main place. Now, once you get up in population and you're able to make settlers, every single settler that you create is not going to be making a city. They're going to be making a town. Now, the hardest thing in this game, I feel, is knowing whether to turn that town into a settlement or not, upgrading it into a city or not, because eventually when it grows, you're going to be able to specialize, and there's some really good options for specializations. Now, towns are attached to your cities. I think that's a really good idea to kind of do it for like 1 and 1. So having 1 town for every city that you've got, or maybe even 2 towns for every city that you've got too. Now, turning them into a fort town can be really useful, especially if you're about to go to war, because you get massive defense buffs for doing that. However, turning it into a actual city costs an awful lot of money. As you can see right now, this cost me over 500 gold. Now, I wouldn't say to save up your gold. Turning it into a city can be something that's really worthwhile, because if you've got a city that is capable of high production, that's absolutely a place that you want to turn into a city. But if it's going to be producing more food, then perhaps leave it a town for your main city. And that's another thing we should really talk about, and that is city or town development. Where should we go? What should we be doing? Now, while your main town, I would say production is king. Also, making sure that you get anything to buff up your either culture or science. So if there's ever a tile, for instance, and you're expanding and you're able to get extra points towards culture or science, absolutely snag them up, because you're going to be able to go down those tech trees a lot faster the more science and culture you're having in. Otherwise, in your main city, I would prioritize production over growth, because of course we can get extra towns which will be supplying our main city growth, and therefore we don't actually need necessarily to be pumping out that food on our main cities. And of course, that's very different than from the last game. Another thing that's very different from the last game is I wouldn't do a warrior first. No, in Civilization 7, I would actually train scouts. Scouts are bloody good in this game. Whereas before, getting that extra warrior in was always the way to go. Within Civilization 7, getting that scout trained first can be really helpful. They have an extra couple of abilities in this game, and that is why they are so good, because not only can they turn themselves into a little scout station, they can also get that extra range of vision for that 1 turn too. You're able to reuse that extra range of vision every single turn as well, meaning it helps you know which direction you want to travel in. Because early exploration is really important in Civilization 7. Trying to track down the air quotes goodie hearts, or trying to track down those natural wonders, is so important. And by the way, hunt down those natural wonders and build a settlement or a town next to them, because you get some amazing bonuses next to the natural wonders in the game, and they're quite plentiful on no matter which map you play. Early expansion is also really important. Now, when you very first start the game, you're only going to be limited to a set number of towns or settlements that you are able to manage. If you go above that, and you can go above that, you're going to be under massive happiness penalties, and happiness penalties will result in other penalties as well. So try and keep within your limit, and understand that if you want to expand upon your settlement limit, you can do so. Now, not only do certain empires and cultures give you that extra added buff or extra added slot, you can also get it within technologies such as science and culture technologies. Now, leaders play a key role in Civilization 7. Not only can you pack and unpack an army within a single move, they cover a better distance on that map than individually. Not only that, but you get to control them all through just one click rather than individually as well. But keep in mind that, of course, if an army is attacked, it's going to be unable to defend itself until you unpack that army. Also, once you age up and go into that next era of the game, you're only going to be keeping the troops that can pack into a army. So making extra leaders is a key idea. Now, earlier in the video, we explained that exploration is really important early game. Not only is it those natural wonders that we're going to be looking for, because of course they're going to be ideal sites for us to be settling and expanding our empire. But we're also looking for old school goodie hearts. Yes, as you can see on the screen right now, we have a goodie heart next to my scout. Now, when we click on him, we're going to have an option. It's not always an option, but 9 times out of 10, you do get an option of rewards. You get a reward of your choice. Now, some of these can be really strong, really powerful. And at the beginning of the game, sometimes they can help you kind of skip a technology or two, or of course, give you that added money to be able to buy an early troop. Because getting that boost at the beginning of your game is going to be the difference between a good start and a bad start. Another reason to explore early game, of course, is to be meeting the other leaders, the other empires on your map. And diplomacy is so important in Civilization 7 because it stops you essentially from having an early war or being able to get extra resources through certain trade deals. Now, there's a new mechanic within Civilization 7 that is influence. Influence is something that you can build up over time, and of course you can spend it to interact with other civilizations or independent powers. Now, the one real key thing I would mention is to save up your influence if you are not spending it. Influence is something that you are going to need throughout your game, no matter how you're playing, whether that is to stop an independent power kind of raising against you. Maybe you want to integrate them into your own civilization, or whether you want to keep good relations with the other empires in the game. Keeping a stockpile of influence is a really good idea, because you never know when they're going to be approaching you for a deal or two. Now, actually turning an independent power on your side is massively important as well, because not only can you stop that rather large army from attacking you at some stages, you actually get some really decent bonuses from those independent powers. Now, unlike Civilization 6 and Civilization 7, faith really is not important. In fact, it's something that you can actually pretty much ignore in your game. Yes, you may have to click on it eventually, but don't rush to, establish a pantheon, because you really don't need to in Civilization 7. Now, remember when we said don't spend your influence all willy-nilly because you're going to be needing it for multiple things in the game? Well, unlike influence that you're going to be using to, for instance, interact with these independent powers, or of course make trade negotiations with regular powers, gold is something I would recommend spending. Gold can get you troops instantly, it can get you buildings instantly, and gold isn't something that you need to be saving up for a rainy day. It is something you could use now to improve and speed up your empire in this very moment. If you happen to have an independent power close by at the beginning of your game, and you have the ability to take them on relatively easily, try and craft yourself a leader and just have them near the action gaining experience, because unlike Civilization 6, our leaders now gather experience and are able to unlock certain powerful perks. Now, of course, it's going to take you quite a long time into your game before you actually manage to level them up enough in order to get some of those really juicy ones, but leveling them up early in your campaign is a great idea. Now, the art of progressing your age is something that you're going to have to learn to understand within this new game. However, I wouldn't necessarily focus down on just one thing. As you can see, we have 4 different things that we can focus on in order to age up, but every single one of them comes with decent benefits and buffs. So maybe approach them all at the same time, and that way you'll slow down your game enough to actually enjoy each age as well. Another thing I didn't realize is, did you know you can actually multi-queue units? So in other words, you can queue a ton of different units to be training while you're going off doing things in the background, so you don't have to keep constantly go back to it. But there we have it, guys. That is just a few tips and tricks to get you going in Civilization 7. Let me know down in the comments if you have any tips and tricks that you want to share, because it'd be really good for the community to grow with each other. And of course, if you did enjoy this video or liked what you watched, then forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, that we don't miss out on more videos just like this. We also have an active and growing Discord, so if you fancy jumping in and sharing your gameplay and thoughts, or maybe you just want to start up a multiplayer game, you can find a link to that down in the description of the video. But until next time, I've been a monk who's been inquisitively curious, and I will see you in the next video real soon. Until then, take it easy and happy gaming.